stadium.
Listen,
like, that's crazy.
If Tyson dies, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, if you have something like that, if you have, look, if
That'd
this,
be the end of the
right.
Yeah, that'd be
crazy.
that experiment.
Let's imagine it in a different way, right? Let's not imagine that Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul. Let's imagine Mike Tyson is fighting some young, like really powerful knockout
then
artist who's
we
a
wouldn't.
contender.
Mike Tyson has fired back at Joe Rogan for demanding him to cancel the fight with Jake Paul. On the other hand, Jake has been offered the chance to fight another heavyweight veteran after he faces Mike Tyson. Kevin McBride has expressed his willingness to face Paul next, provided he gets past Tyson. He said, "If Jake Paul takes the mantle of the last man to beat Mike Tyson, then I'd hope Jake Paul would give me the opportunity to fight him. Then he'd have the chance to be the last man to beat Tyson and McBride. I'd jump in there with him." Paul is unlikely to consider any offer from McBride, as it wouldn't present the same lucrative opportunity that a fight with Tyson has offered. In 2006, when Iron Mike was far from peaking, McBride sparred with Tyson and easily defeated him. Considering that Tyson has experienced multiple medical issues, it is likely that his physical state has gotten worse over time. Many people have criticized Paul for choosing Tyson, and doctors are worried about Tyson's health if he loses. McBride, who struggled with Tyson's intense aggression at first, has cautioned the influencer to alert the referee if the fierce puncher appears ready to flout the rules. He said, "Keep your hands up and watch that he doesn't spit out his mouthpiece, and if he does, tell the ref." I'd warn Jake Paul to make sure Mike doesn't spit his mouthpiece out, because if he does, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what Mike Tyson is going to do. He's a fearsome man. Paul is gearing up to explore new opportunities in boxing, all aimed at advancing his bold, long-term ambition of becoming a world champion. In the coming year, there might also be some lucrative matchups with opponents like Tommy Fury and KSI. McBride added, "It takes balls to get in the ring with Tyson even in his 50s. Whether you're a YouTuber or a fighter, it takes big balls. Tyson is no joke." Although the match's rules are designed to keep it less intense, many fighters criticize Paul for the perceived disrespect in pushing for this showdown. According to BJ Flores, the former coach of the YouTuber turned fighter, Iron Mike wanted the bout to appear on each man's record. He said, "Mike wants to fight. Mike wanted the fight. It wasn't Jake searching Mike out. Mike wanted the opportunity and make it not an exhibition. A real fight. Jake loves Mike. He thought it was a big event. Netflix got behind and the AT&T Stadium got behind it." The former world title contender stated that the fight puts Paul in a no-win situation. Either he suffers a defeat or he shocks the boxing world by toppling a legend. He said, "It's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people to watch, but it's kind of a lose-lose for Jake because you don't want to beat Mike. And if Mike beats you, then, you know, Mike's still dangerous. It'll be a good event. I'm going to watch it." Of course, people have mixed feelings about it, but they're not the ones in the ring. Additionally, Tyson and Paul will square off at Fanatics Fest in New York City on August 18th. When the event was rescheduled, Paul jumped at the chance to take on ex-UFC fighter Mike Perry in July. Paul emerged victorious with a 6th-round technical knockout, pushing his professional boxing record to an impressive 10-1. On the heels of his big win over Perry, Paul commented on the impending showdown with Tyson, saying, "After eating Mike Perry as an appetizer, I'm ready to go for the main course on Friday, Navier, in 15. Paul further added, "To be fighting the biggest, baddest boxer ever is a dream come true for me, and it is going to be a nightmare for Mike Tyson. It's cool to be featured at Fanatics Fest alongside some of the biggest names in sports, and I look forward to delivering a show the fans won't soon forget." Tyson also gave his thoughts on Fanatics Fest and provided a positive health update. "I'm looking forward to facing off with Jake Paul at Fanatics Fest in NYC. The countdown is back on. I'm feeling great and looking forward to knocking out Jake Paul on Friday, November 15 at AT&T Stadium in Texas on Netflix." When Tyson and Paul clash on November 15th, Tyson will undoubtedly have the upper hand with his vast experience and impressive accolades. Boasting a stellar record of 56 and multiple world heavyweight titles, Tyson's resume speaks volumes. On the other hand, Paul, who has only fought 11 times and is over 30 years younger at 27, brings a much shorter but more recent boxing history, with all his matches occurring in the past 4 years. Given that Paul's previous opponents have mostly been former MMA fighters or less prominent boxers, Tyson is poised to be the most formidable adversary he has faced to date. In the meantime, Tyson Fury has weighed in with his forecast for the highly anticipated clash between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Fury is certain that Tyson will both astonish the world and teach the problem child a thing or two when their paths finally cross in the ring. In a video, the Gypsy King stated, "Listen, if Mike Tyson hits anybody, I don't care if he's 90, he's gonna knock them out cold, isn't he? Obviously, I have to back Mike Tyson. I'm named after the legend, and I'll back him. As he always backs me, I'm backing Mike for the knockout. Come on, Mike!" Since Tyson's last bout against Jones Jr., Paul has been actively competing in the ring. His latest match in July saw him clinch a win over ex-UFC fighter Mike Perry. Meanwhile, Iron Mike is struggling with a serious health issue that hampers his movement and speech. Fans' concerns began in 2022 when he was spotted in a wheelchair at Miami International Airport. He was later seen with a walking stick in New York, which was eventually linked to sciatica. According to the NHS, sciatica is a condition in which the sciatic nerve, stretching from the lower back through the hips and down to the feet, becomes irritated or compressed, resulting in considerable discomfort. Those affected might feel tingling, numbness, or weakness primarily in the buttocks, the back of the leg, the foot, and the toes. If left untreated, the pain can escalate to a level that severely disrupts daily activities. Symptoms often worsen at night, or with even minor movement. Iron Mike confirmed the news about his condition back in a 2022 interview with Newsmax, saying, "I have sciatica every now and then. It flares up. When it flares up, I can't even talk. Thank God it's the only health problem I have. I'm splendid now. Everybody in my house is truly blessed, and we're all very grateful for whatever we have." In May, while flying with American Airlines from Miami to Los Angeles, Tyson encountered a medical scare. Mid-flight, he began to feel nauseous and dizzy. Upon landing at LAX, paramedics were ready to evaluate his condition. The official statement said, "Thankfully, Mr. Tyson is doing great. He became nauseous and dizzy due to an ulcer flare-up 30 minutes before landing. He is appreciative to the medical staff that were there to help him." In response to the delay, Paul expressed his deep admiration, saying he loves and holds immense respect for the former undisputed world heavyweight champion. Obviously devastating news. "I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I feel bad for everyone in this event, the whole undercard," Paul wrote on Instagram, after news broke that Tyson had to pull out. He further added, "This opportunity has been ripped from all of us, but I do value Mike's health. Love that guy, so much respect for him, and I want Mike to be healthy. He still says he's going to knock me out, and I bought myself some time, so Mike is still talking shit over there." In a recent development that's stirring up concerns among fans, Mike Tyson has unveiled new training footage. Nakisa Badarian, Paul's manager, had mentioned last month that although Tyson had resumed his strength and conditioning workouts, he hadn't yet re-entered the boxing arena. However, the iconic fighter has now made a comeback, sharing a clip of himself fiercely demolishing the pads. A former boxing champion has taken aim at Jake Paul's upcoming match against Mike Tyson, calling it a calculated move designed to stir up drama and questioning Tyson's place in the ring. When the announcement of the fight between Paul and Tyson first hit the headlines, it was met with widespread disapproval from contemporary boxers, legendary figures in the sport, and fans alike. Critics quickly pointed out the stark age disparity between the two fighters and voiced worries about Tyson's well-being as he gears up for a return to boxing. Iron Mike has returned to the gym, diving into a grueling 3-month training camp in preparation for his next bout. However, former boxing champ Carl Froch argues that Mike should reconsider stepping into the ring at all. He said, "I think Mike Tyson's too old to be in the ring. I think that was shown when he got carried off the airplane with his bad back. It's a pro fight just to create more stir. That's just to piss more people off." Froch, who has criticized Jake's boxing career plenty, said his only beef with the problem child is that he can't really fight. He added, "He's got a massive weight advantage on most of the guys he fights. His fights are mismatches. It's an unfair advantage. He's that much of a bitch. He makes it so he's so much heavier than his opponent." Following his triumph against Perry, the YouTuber-turned-boxer threw a punch at UFC champion Alex Potin Pereira. Yet, Dana White swiftly brushed off the challenge, declaring that Jake Paul is no longer a significant threat in his eyes. In the boxing community, there's a prevailing sentiment that the upcoming bout is virtually a foregone conclusion. Few are giving Tyson, at 58, any real chance against Paul, who is 31 years his junior. The YouTuber-turned-boxer radiates unshakable confidence about the fight and has already mapped out his strategy for the next 5 matches following his autumn showdown with Tyson. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is already planning his next steps after his upcoming clash with Mike Tyson. Asked for his hit list during a recent appearance on the Full Send podcast, Paul replied, "Alex Pereira, Conor McGregor, Canelo Alvarez, KSI, Tommy Fury." Even though Alex Pereira and Conor McGregor remain under UFC contracts, a matchup between them seems unlikely. Dana White has been unequivocal about his lack of interest in working with Paul, and firmly rejected the notion of a Pereira fight in a recent TNT Sports interview. "The media eats all his bullshit and they actually print it. It's the weirdest thing ever," White said, when asked if he would be open to making the fight. White added, "I didn't even know Jake Paul was fighting. I was on vacation in Italy and I had no idea. There were all these stories written. It's ridiculous. I stopped paying attention to Jake Paul when he lost to Tommy Fury. When he fought someone that was his age and actually boxed, he lost." Paul has been relentlessly advocating for a rematch with Tommy Fury ever since the British boxer handed him his sole professional defeat last year. Despite his relentless pursuit, the long-awaited fight remains unconfirmed. Following his victory over KSI in October, Fury has been sidelined with a hand injury. Out of all possible matchups, facing Canelo Alvarez seems the least likely, as the Mexican legend remains a dominant force in boxing's upper echelons. However, if an agreement can be reached on the weight, a bout with KSI could be a real contender in the meantime. "The difficulty is figuring out the weight," explained Paul. He added, "We both agreed to 185 pounds, but that was 18 months ago and now we are both heavier. He's walking around at 205 pounds, and I'm walking around at 212 pounds. I couldn't make 185 pounds anymore, so that is part of the issue. The lowest I can make is 195 pounds, and that would be difficult. But I've agreed to all of his other terms. I've said he could be A-side, we can fight in London, or anything else he wants. Just compromise a little bit on the weight." Butterbean is raising the stakes with an audacious 1.5 million pounds winner-takes-all clash against Jake Paul, the YouTube star turned boxer. Though some critics question the logic of Paul going up against the 58-year-old Tyson, Butterbean, renowned for his fearsome knockout power and 57 KOs from his 90s heyday, is eager for the chance to take on the problem child in the ring with the Tyson versus. Paul's spectacle capturing widespread attention, Butterbean is unwavering in his resolve to challenge the social media sensation. Showcasing his impressive punching skills on TikTok, Butterbean has boldly addressed Paul, asserting, "Jake Paul, what are you waiting on? Are we gonna do this or what?" It comes after Butterbean first suggested a $2 million or 1.5 million pounds competition on the site last week. As Paul gazed down at the camera, Butterbean sent him a direct message stating, "Hey Jake Paul, would you fight me for $2 million? Winner takes all." At 58 years old, the former boxing champion, who last competed professionally in 2013, has expressed a strong desire to go up against Paul, as reported by the Daily Star. With an impressive record of 77-10-4, this retired fighter is eager to return to the ring after more than 10 years, motivated by a striking transformation in his weight and fitness. The heavyweight champion, once dreaded by opponents, who once weighed an incredible 36.7 stone, has achieved a dramatic transformation, losing an impressive 15 stone with the guidance of yoga guru and ex-WWE star Diamond Dallas Page. Just a month ago, Butterbean proclaimed he was in the best shape ever, igniting excitement and speculation about a potential and extraordinary comeback to the ring. Butterbean initially challenged both Paul and Tyson during discussions about a return last year, saying, "I'm not a typical boxer, I go out there to fight. I want to knock somebody out. Jake Paul or Mike Tyson. Jake Paul runs his mouth too much. He's never fought anybody. I would love to fight him. I think people would like to see me and Tyson go at it, which would be a hell of a draw. Me and Tyson are actually friends, but I don't mind fighting friends." Legendary heavyweight Larry Holmes has shared his prediction for the upcoming fight. Over his illustrious career, which spanned 75 bouts, Holmes battled icons like Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, and the great Muhammad Ali. Yet, it was in 1988 that he faced a significant challenge when he took on Mike Tyson for the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles, ultimately suffering a notable loss. In a recent interview with USA Today, Holmes revealed that he's backing his old adversary to emerge victorious. He said, "I'll bet a quarter on Mike Tyson." George Foreman, renowned for his legendary comebacks, showcased his unparalleled resilience by seizing a world title at the age of 45, an astounding achievement following a 10-year break from the sport. In a discussion with NY Fights, which suggested that Tyson should still be capable of dropping and stopping Paul despite his age, Foreman's reply was both clear and insightful. He said, "Jake Paul is no pushover, and he is not afraid of any of these guys. Time is on his side. So happy for Mike Tyson. He needed this excitement in his life. Everyone is talking about it. Answer to your question is no." Foreman cautioned Tyson in a separate article with USA Today, continuing to compliment the younger fighter. He said, "Be careful with Paul, only because Paul has tricks. Tyson gets hit with one punch at his age, you start to hear funny noises." The fight between Mike Tyson and Paul is quickly approaching, and predictions are coming in thick and fast from every angle. With only 3 months remaining until the unforeseen clash in Texas this November, excitement is reaching a fever pitch. Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion ever, has been absent from the professional ring since 2005, when his celebrated career ended with 2 defeats. Yet, in 2022, he briefly re-entered the boxing world for an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr., which was intentionally settled as a draw. When Jonathan Ross inquired about the Mike versus Jake showdown, former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua weighed in, asserting that the bout was advantageous for boxing. Joshua expressed his personal enthusiasm for the fight, even though he recognized that die-hard boxing enthusiasts might not share his view. He noted that the conventional route to success in boxing typically involves progressing from the Olympics to the professional arena. However, when a high-profile figure unexpectedly steps into the ring against top competitors, it might be perceived by some as undermining the sport's established traditions.
I personally think it's really good. I think that the boxing hardcores, like the boxing fanatics, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system that you have to go through, and once you're qualified there, then you go through to the professional ranks. Whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere and fight one of the best guys.
Joshua elaborated that if the audience were split into 2 groups, one consisting of dedicated boxing enthusiasts and the other following a popular figure like a YouTuber, the latter would introduce many newcomers to the sport. He highlighted that boxing, being a challenging discipline, benefits greatly from increased viewership, and such events are valuable for boosting the sport's visibility.
But I think, let's say we divided this crowd in half, and you've got half of the people that are hardcore boxing fans and half of the people that love a certain person that's into YouTube.
Like a YouTuber, yeah.
But that person brings all of these people into boxing, which benefits everyone else that's involved.
Because some of them
in the
might
industry.
stay not just for that match.
Yeah.
They might get into the sport.
And it's a tough game, so everyone viewing helps. So I think it's really good for people that need like some exposure.
Anticipating the result of the match, he placed his faith in the younger challenger, concerned that Tyson's advancing age could catch up with him. He also fervently wished for the 58-year-old veteran to emerge from the bout without injury. He mentioned that his primary worry was Father Time, an adversary that's always proved invincible. Joshua acknowledged Tyson's advancing age and hoped for his opponent's well-being post-fight. He forecasted a victory for Jake Paul, citing youth as the crucial element that would tip the scales in his favor.
And of that match between Mr. Paul and Mr. Tyson, which one do you think is going to win?
The only thing I'm worried about is Father Time. That's one thing that has never been beat. And Tyson's, he's older now. But I pray that he comes out healthy. But I think Jake Paul because of youth. That's the only thing, because of the youth.
Joe Rogan has raised serious objections to the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, arguing that it should be canceled. Rogan has expressed profound concerns about Tyson's safety, fearing that the bout could result in significant harm to the boxing icon. He has pointed out the grave risks Tyson faces, potentially even fatal consequences, given the considerable age difference. Tyson is 31 years Paul's senior. This age disparity has already sparked unease among boxing enthusiasts. Even before the match received formal approval, Rogan's worries about a potentially disastrous outcome were evident.
Artist who's a contender. Well, guess what? Jake Paul could be that guy if we didn't think of him as Jake Paul. If you look at the people he knocks dead, when he knocked dead Tyron Woodley with one punch, that dude
I was there.
Fucking crack.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like that's what I'm saying, exactly what you're saying. We don't want to give him credit because it's Jake Paul.
Exactly.
But we gotta wake up and realize that he's still 27, young, and for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, he's had the best coaches working with him one-on-one.
Rogan observed that there was uncertainty surrounding the fight's approval, with potential protests threatening to derail it. It's worth mentioning that this podcast was recorded a few weeks back, and since then, the fight has been officially sanctioned. In light of these developments, Tyson highlighted the possible repercussions, warning that if he were to sustain severe injuries, or in the direst scenario, perish during the match, it would spark major concerns. Despite Rogan's genuine concerns about Tyson's health, he hasn't completely ruled out the possibility of a comeback for Iron Mike that could see him take down Paul. The UFC commentator pointed out that if Tyson were to regain even 70% of his former physical prowess, it would present a formidable challenge for Paul. This is particularly relevant given Tyson's enduring strength, which has been evident in his recent training sessions.
Probably 90% of the power. 70% of the physical ability and 90% of the power, because the power's not gone. You see it when he hits a bag.
Yeah, he's still got the power.
The power's there, 100%. But he's had a bunch of back issues. He had real bad sciatica.
Having problems walking and
He's
stuff.
walking with a
with a cane, yeah.
So, but who knows what they've done? Stem cells.
Rogan highlighted Tyson's previous health challenges, notably his debilitating sciatica that had once forced him to rely on a cane. Despite these setbacks, Rogan recognized the promising potential of advanced treatments such as stem cell therapy, implying that Tyson probably received top-tier medical attention. Remarkably, Rogan pointed out that at 58, Tyson had the potential to remain a lucrative figure, provided he maintained peak physical condition, an insight that was especially striking to them.
Stem cells, I'm sure he's with the right people. Like, even at 57, you can make a lot of money if Mike Tyson's fit and in shape, which is so crazy to say. It's just weird that we're even talking about it.
100%.
That the fucking guy from Disney is going to fight Mike Tyson, the YouTube kid.
In the midst of widespread doubt surrounding Mike Tyson, UFC commentator Joe Rogan brings attention to a unique edge that might just turn the tide in Tyson's favor. Rogan emphasizes Tyson's use of hormone replacement therapy, a well-documented factor. During a discussion with Max Holloway, Rogan explained how HRT could significantly boost performance for those in their 50s, setting it apart from other treatments. Joe Rogan highlighted a fascinating angle in the upcoming Jake vs. Mike fight, focusing on the shifting landscape for seasoned athletes. He pointed out that today's veteran sports figures are increasingly turning to hormone replacement therapy, which he views as a game-changing advantage. Rogan suggested that Jake could be in for an unexpected challenge from Mike Tyson, given this transformative element. This revelation comes at a time when Jake has disclosed his significant weight gain to 230 pounds, ramping up the anticipation for his showdown with Tyson.
He got really lit up in the legs, though, real bad. Masato was so good, too.
Yeah. What about
Butterbean?
Butterbean versus Genki Sudo.
Understanding the importance of hormone replacement therapy for men is essential. HRT is designed to correct hormonal imbalances, particularly testosterone deficits, while also boosting bone density and revitalizing overall male health. Joe Rogan highlights the dramatic progress in health approaches for men in their 50s compared to 30 years ago. He emphasizes that a contemporary 58-year-old, such as Mike Tyson, stands in stark contrast to someone of the same age from 1994.
Well, you hooked him, right?
Yeah.
Genki
Sudo was a stud.
Oh, fuck yeah, he was.
He was a good guy.
I grabbed
He was
I had to
great.
grab
You
him
had it
match
at
a
Abu
little bit.
Dhabi, didn't you?
Max Holloway recently spotlighted the viral sensation of Mike Tyson's training videos that have been making waves on social media. After both Holloway and Joe Rogan watched the clips, they pondered whether Tyson might be capable of beating Jake Paul in a fight. Holloway, in particular, showed strong faith in Tyson's knockout potential. He asked Rogan for his opinion on the training footage and suggested that Tyson could very well translate his impressive form from the videos into a real ring performance.
I open up and he goes for a leg lock.
Oh, my God.
I got out of it, but it's fucking weird. But they all did the voice. Oh, my God.
He was wild.
Like it's a
Yeah,
fucking,
Genki was wild.
He was a wild guy, man.
Joe Rogan seemed to recognize the notable age gap between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, though he expressed some hesitance about the situation. Despite his role as a UFC commentator, Rogan conceded that he didn't have up-to-date details on Tyson's physical state, even though Tyson is renowned as the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Rogan did, however, propose a tactic for Tyson to achieve a win, launching a relentless offensive against Paul from the opening bell. During the initial round, Rogan highlighted Mike's potential strength, but raised doubts about his stamina and overall physical condition. He noted uncertainties regarding Mike's back, joints, and general health, suggesting these areas were not fully understood.
He was a wild guy, man.
Genki was supposed to be my first fight in the UFC.
Remy Bonjasky.
Remy
Bonjasky.
Oh, he's not used to that.
Yeah, he got head kicked.
He said that's all right.
Well, Remy Bonjasky was amazing.
Yeah, he
man.
was.
And he fought, had such an interesting style.
Crazy knees.
Yeah. Hey, man, we just lost Rob Kamen.
That sucks.
Died.
That really
That
sucks.
was hard.
Nice guy.
I worked out with that guy a lot. I trained with that guy for like
shit.
8
How's
week
that?
period. It was amazing. He was awesome.
Those Dutch guys are cool, man.
He's the coolest. He was the
It's like
coolest.
Boss, he's super
I did a
cool.
joint seminar with him in Canada one time. He's just a cool guy.
Nice.
Just
That
a
was
cool
it.
guy.
Head kick.
Yeah,
Ray
one
Burch
kick,
was like,
end of it.
check, please.
Thank you for that.
I don't enjoy that. Franz Botha,
How
he
did
did
you sign
well
up
in
for this?
kickboxing. Remember?
Yeah,
Franz
he
Botha fought
did,
Trevor.
yeah.
Yeah, he figured out how to do it a little bit and start fucking people
Yeah.
up. Well, his hands were so good.
Yeah.
Despite uncertainties surrounding Tyson's strength and stamina, Rogan noted that Tyson's aggressive start could pose a significant challenge for Paul. However, Rogan also highlighted Paul's impressive skills, suggesting he could be a formidable competitor for Tyson.
As their boxing was not the best.
worked
Right.
together much.
If you could
Yeah.
just stay in close.
Yeah.
I think Genki Sudo get Raymond Decker also. Raymond Decker got submitted.
I think he
was
did. I think he did.
I remember
yeah.
him because I
Yes.
remember. I think Genki
I
got
think
him.
that was his only MMA fight.
I remember that guy because Longo used to always point that guy on. And be
That
like,
was-
this fucking guy. Fucking Longo loved him.
Decker's in his prime has the wildest highlight reel of any fighter
He's
ever.
fucked people
he
up.
was an assassin. He had his ankle fused. His ankle had broken so many times that his doctor, he couldn't bend his ankle, and his doctor's like, look, if you keep kicking with that thing, we might have to remove it. Fuck you. Wrap it back up, kicking people too. He just, once we got in there, he just smashed. He kicked through everything. He kicked through your arms, he kicked through your elbows. Ramon Deckers was a fucking machine, man. And he was a small guy. So he's fighting the elite Thais that are all his weight and just piecing people up.
He was mean too.
Oh,
Like,
he was
yeah,
ferocious.
Yeah, just
put
mean.
on
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.